Today we're going to talk about multiplying fractions. I know you guys talked about how to simplify and how to make improper to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper fractions, and now we're going to use those while we multiply fractions. So, when you are multiplying a fraction by a fraction, so we have 1/3 times 1/4. Your first step is to multiply the numerator, okay, your top number. So we have 1 times 1 is 1. Your second step is to then multiply the denominator. So 3 times 4 is 12, and then we get 1/12. Then if we need to, we can simplify. But obviously, since we have the 1 in our numerator, that is going to be in simplest form. So 1/3 times 1/4 is 1/12. Now, you can also multiply fractions by whole numbers. So for here, we have 2/3 times 6. The first thing that you have to do is make your whole number a fraction. And you do that by putting the whole number over 1. So now we have 2/3 times 6 first. Step 2 is just like what we did with a fraction times a fraction. You multiply your numerators, so 2 times 6 is 12. Then you multiply your denominators, 3 times 1 is 3. So you have 12/3. That is an improper fraction, so you have to divide them. And when you do, you get an answer of 4 0/3 or 4 as your simplified answer. Now, this may confuse some of you, and if it does, don't worry about it, you can do it the regular way. But you can simplify before you multiply. If you have 3/4 times 5/6, you can look at the numbers that are diagonal from each other. So in this case, 3 and 6, and 5 and 4. If, such as this one, 3 and 6 have a common factor, such as 3, you can divide them. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 6 two times. So now, instead of 3 times 5, you would have 1 times 5, and instead of 4 times 6, you would have 4 times 2. Then it's already simplified for you. So you would get 1 times 5 is 5, 4 times 2 is 8, 5/8 would be your simplified fraction. Multiplying fractions by mixed numbers, okay? So we have 3/8 times 3 and 1/3. Now, the way we do this for the first step, you need to write your mixed number as an improper fraction. You can't have that whole number in there. So, you would do your multiply, 3 times 3, which is 9, and then add your numerator, which is 10, and then put your original denominator over. So 3 and 1/3 changes into 10 and 10/3. Step 2 would then be to multiply like you do a fraction times a fraction. So you would multiply 3 times 10, your numerators, and you get 30, and then you multiply 8 times 3, which is 24, so you have 30/24. If you find your GCF, you would find 6, so you would divide top and bottom by 6, which gives you 5/4. Now, 5/4 is still an improper fraction, so you would have to divide it to put it back into a mixed number. When you do, you get 1 1/4. Now, if you have two mixed numbers, you do the same thing, only you have to change them twice. So you have 1 1/4 and 2 2/3. You would, 1 times 4 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, so you have 5/4 for this one. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, so you have 8/3 for that one. So then you take and you multiply just like a fraction times fraction. 5/4 times 8/3. 5 times 8 is 40, 4 times 3 is 12. The GCF of 40 and 12 is 4, so you would divide top and bottom by 4 and get 10/3. Once again, it's an improper fraction, so you have to change it to a mixed number. 10 divided by 3, you would get 3 1/3. Now we're going to go through a couple together to practice.